The first Sonic movie trilogy is officially here, so now our eyes are set on the next one. Hey, what's up everyone, it's me, SpeedSuperSonic brings another video. In this video today, we are talking about the future of the Sonic movie franchise. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while. There's just been so many other topics in relation to whether it be Sonic Movie 4 in particular, or with Sonic Movie 3 itself in the aftermath of that. I've kind of wanted to look beyond any of that. I want to look even further than Sonic Movie 4. The creators of the Sonic movie franchise, whether it be the directors or the producers or the writers, have plans set beyond 4. They want this thing to go on for as long as possible, not just with movies, but with shows as well. So I think the possibility of another Sonic movie trilogy is definitely in the cards. Another set of 3 films that will have a specific story arc that will take Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, whoever, on the next set of their journey. So I wanted to take a look at 4. I wanted to take a look at a potential 5 and 6 for what we can expect to see in the next 3 Sonic the Hedgehog films. So without any further ado, let's dive into how I think the next trilogy of Sonic the Hedgehog movies is going to play out. Starting off with Sonic Movie 4, I think this one is pretty self-explanatory if you've seen the post-credit scene for Sonic Movie 3. Obviously, our new characters are going to be Amy Rose and Metal Sonic. Metal Sonic is going to be the large antagonist, kind of similar to how Shadow was in 3, and also how Knuckles was in Sonic Movie 2. However, this is going to be a very different film because it's not going to have that same ending that 2 and 3 had. Of course, Knuckles and Shadow went on to save the day with Sonic, kind of a redemption arc. Both characters are, of course, anti-heroes, if you will, in the Sonic universe. We knew how those stories were going to play out, but with Metal Sonic, you can't do the same thing. Metal Sonic is a creation of Dr. Robotnik, and I'm pretty confident that he is going to be that in Sonic Movie 4 as well. This is going to be a genuine threat for Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy, as I'm sure she's going to become a member of Sonic's squad, simply with her saving Sonic and giving that cheeky little grin at the end. And with them doing an army of Metal Sonics, I think that this is going to be on a much larger scale than we are expecting. If you just had one Metal Sonic, well, I guess that's more accurate to the source material, you don't have as much of a larger worldwide threat coming off a movie like Sonic 3. You need stakes to get larger and larger each movie, mainly for audience sakes, to feel like they need to see this next movie because it's bigger and badder than the last one. Hence why they're last minute pivoting to bringing Shadow back for 4, because you can't just have Shadow as the big selling point of 3 and then have him not return for the next movie just to be replaced by Amy and Metal Sonic, who are significantly less popular characters. To a general audience, of course, the Sonic community loves those characters, so for a lack of a better example, I think we're going to see an Avengers Age of Ultron-like situation, storyline go on with Metal Sonic, to where Metal Sonic is kind of a foundational character. He has a personality, he has threats, he has quippiness, he has some kind of similarities to Sonic, but has an overall army of Metal Sonic-like robots that are going to fight alongside of him. I don't think Metal Sonic is just a swarm of the same robot. There has to be something more there. There has to be something a little more deep and gripping with that character, because Metal Sonic is a character. I'm going to be really disappointed in Sonic Movie 4 if Metal Sonic doesn't pose a larger threat and isn't his own personality. This might be a hot take, but I don't think any Sonic media has been able to crack Metal Sonic properly in the way that they should. CD, obviously, it was the first appearance of the character and technology was still very young at the time. OVA, Sonic Heroes, both of those touched the peak of Metal Sonic very closely, but I think that there could be so much more you can do with that character that hasn't been done yet. As for the character of Amy, I'm very excited to see how they're going to tackle her, mainly because of the weird state the character's been in for the past few years, but also we've been hearing murmurings of a potential romantic comedy, which I'm not sure if I'm fully going to believe in, not because of mandates or anything like that. Of course, we know that Sega has mandates that Sonic's not allowed to have a romantic love interest anymore, but we've seen that Paramount's really allowed to do whatever they want with Sonic. It's not really up to Sega. They can make Sonic a degenerate drug dealer and Sega wouldn't be able to do anything about that, I think. But I'm not really here to predict whether Sonic and Amy will explore a romance with the character of Amy, though. Simply with the way that she is dressed in the end credits sequence of Sonic Movie 3, I think there's something a little more darker, a little more sinister going on in this world. And with the discussion of time travel also being a subplot in Sonic 4, which with these two characters being originated from Sonic CD, which is a time travel story, it's no secret why reports are coming out saying that's going to be the case. But I think that cloak tells us a little bit more about where Sonic Movie 4 is going than anything else. I don't think they're simply coming from Sonic's world or anything like that. They might genuinely be coming from either a different dimension or a different part of time than what this current universe is set in, which I think opens the door up for what Sonic Movie 5 is going to hold. Sonic Movie 5, of course, is a film that has not been announced yet, but I think we all very much so want to see, and in large part because when you're done with Amy and Metal Sonic, a lot of your mainstay Sonic characters, you kinda have run out, and now you gotta start tapping into some more obscure characters that a lot of the general audience might not know. And one of those characters, the biggest character, what I hope to see the most, simply from a Sonic fan standpoint, and also what I think could do well at the box office, is none other than Silver the Hedgehog. I want Sonic Movie 5, and I think that if we get a Sonic Movie 5, it is indeed going to be the Silver the Hedgehog introduction movie. I think that this is going to be a massive one, and I think this for a few reasons. Half prediction for Sonic Movie 4/5, I think Movie 4 will make less money than Sonic Movie 3 at the box office. I think Sonic Movie 3 is going to be the peak of the Sonic movie franchise at the box office. I don't think Sonic Movie 4 will make more money. I could be wrong, but if I had to put money on it right now, I think it's not going to make as much. You never know, maybe it will come out and surprise me. But I think it will make enough money to where Paramount makes a profit, and eventually greenlights a Sonic 5 to see if they can go even bigger and badder and potentially make more money than 3 and 4. And they're going to pull out the big guns and do Silver the Hedgehog. Silver the Hedgehog, of course, is a hedgehog, falls in line with Sonic and Shadow, two of the most popular characters in the Sonic franchise, while Silver never really ever coming close to touching the popularity of Shadow. His design is iconic, there's been a lot of intrigue around the character for a long time, the character has been around for a long time at this point. By the time this movie comes out, the character will be over 20 years old, and not just design, not just simply the character being a hedgehog, but what the character is, coming from the future, having psychokinesis. Silver is simply a badass, cool character who has a lot of potential for not only amazing fight sequences, but an amazing story. Silver, of course, coming from the future to stop it, quote-unquote, Iblis Trigger from destroying that inevitable future, believing that it's Sonic the Hedgehog, and almost a Terminator-like situation, is awesome and would make for an amazing movie, and I think that that would be absolutely amazing for Sonic Movie 5. I hope that's what we'll see. I think that's what we'll see. But even though that's what I think and hope, I don't think that's going to be a direct adaptation of Sonic 06. I think that Sonic fans really need to start learning the lesson from these past 3 movies that none of these projects are going to be direct adaptations of video games. Yes, 3 came the closest to being an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2, but still at the end of the day, it wasn't an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2. It was still very much so doing its own thing, but had, you know, elements and callbacks and references and took a lot of stuff from that game. And Sonic 4, I don't think is going to be an adaptation of CD. I think it's going to take elements of CD, Sonic Heroes potentially, but it's not going to be in a direct adaptation. So I don't think that Sonic Movie 5 is going to be the Sonic 06 movie. It's not going to have Blaze, it's not going to have Team Dark, it's not going to have Princess Elise, obviously. So another prediction for 5 is I don't think that they're going to have a Blaze in there. I don't think that they're going to introduce Blaze alongside Silver, as we saw. They didn't put Rouge in there alongside Shadow, despite the fact that they were introduced in the same game. I think we'll see something very similar with Silver. If Amy is indeed from a dark future alongside Metal Sonic, maybe Amy has a relationship with Silver already. If they come from like the same timeline or universe or something like that, I think that'd be awesome. I think there's so much cool stuff you could do in a Silver movie. It's really what I wanted to see with 4, but at the same time, I think giving us a little bit of a break, doing something a little more small scale, even though I think that they're going to really try to amp it up for 4. But you know, introducing a new character like Amy, who's going to be friends with Sonic and friends, while also introducing a different kind of bad guy, a robotic character, not a hedgehog or echidna that will eventually befriend Sonic. I think having that movie and then giving that space between, you know, 3 and 5 to introduce those new big bad hedgehogs, that's going to be so cool. And I really hope that if they do 5, this is the direction that they'll go. So if anybody from Paramount is watching this right now, just let me cook. Bring me on to the movie, in fact, you know? Like, I'd love to help out. But yeah, those are the big predictions for Sonic 5. I think that movie would perform super well. I think everybody would love to see that. And I think it'd be a big enough of a success to have a Sonic Movie 6. I don't think you can introduce another character like a Silver or Amy, because also kind of half prediction 4, 5, and 6. I think that Silver will kind of be like a Shadow. There won't be some big sacrifice. He'll work with Sonic and kind of befriend him, but they won't be homies. He's not gonna like live with Tom and Maddie and all of them. But you kind of keep the character around and stuff like that. What are all the characters that we have at this point? Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Amy, Metal Sonic, Silver, and I'm going to assume potentially Dr. Eggman. Those are already 8 characters, not already including Tom, Maddie, some of the other human characters that have been established at this point. Those are a lot of characters, a lot of people you have to balance. So I think what they would do for 6 is kind of have our core of established characters and have them go against a giant, insane, world-ending threat. And that could be Chaos. Chaos is something I think a lot of people are wanting to see. Chaos, of course, you have his base form, you have all the different versions of Chaos, and then you have Perfect Chaos, who, you know, destroys an entire station square. It's awesome. And in Sonic Adventure, you have all of these different characters who you play as until you go up against Perfect Chaos. So we already have Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and the only ones that you would need at that point is Big and Gamma. Now, I don't think that's what they'll do. The writers have talked about how they're trying to find a way to put Big in there, but it doesn't seem that they're very serious about the character, nor do I think that there's too much you could do with Big as a character in these movies. And while I think Gamma would be awesome, I just don't see them putting Gamma in these movies at any point, unfortunately, despite how much I love that character. I think they'll kind of keep our core cast, toss Shadow and or Silver in there, and have all of these characters go up against Chaos. I think that would be awesome. Not doing a direct adaptation of Sonic Adventure, but, you know, having all of those different Sonic characters going up against this giant threat, I think would be so cool. Obviously, Chaos ties into Knuckles' past with the Echidnas. Maybe you could do some setup in a season 2 or 3 of Knuckles. We still don't know if they're ever going to continue that show. Hopefully they do. The Master Emerald could definitely be part of the story. Maybe bringing in Tikal, Chief, Kamek has already been introduced in the universe. Doing some more flashbacks and calling back and building more lore inside of the universe would be super cool, especially for something that could potentially be the last movie in the franchise. Because I think that's something we do have to realize. This franchise can't go on forever, especially in the current state it is right now. Well, of course, as a Sonic fan who has this stuff behind me, I would like to see the franchise go on for as long as humanly possible. But realistically, they gotta wrap it up at some point. So if we're looking at this as the next trilogy, I don't know if we're gonna see more beyond that, at least in the state the Sonic movies are in the form of live action. We might see like a continuation with, you know, CG films, or, you know, a TV show, or they'll just completely reboot. But the new cast, new creatives, all of that, but still same producers. I think this would be an awesome way to wrap up the saga, do some really cool creative things. Of course, 6, they could do something different than Chaos. I'm not as solidified on that as I am 5 being a Silver movie. Maybe they'll do a switcheroo. Maybe they'll have 5 be the Chaos movie and then have 6 be the Silver movie. I personally would do it the other way. I think 5 would be a great time to introduce Silver. It'd be so perfect. But those are my predictions for the next 3 Sonic the Hedgehog films: Sonic Movie 4, Sonic Movie 5, and Sonic Movie 6. So with all of that said, this is where I'm going to pass it off to you and ask, what do you think? What do you think we're going to see in the next 3 Sonic the Hedgehog films? Do you even think we're going to see 3 more Sonic the Hedgehog films? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'd love to know what you guys have to say. Feel free to follow my social media links to my Twitter and Instagram in the description below. You can follow those for the behind the scenes look at my life, future content, and all things Sonic the Hedgehog. But most importantly, if you're not subscribed, make sure that you are subscribed. This is the #1 destination on YouTube for all things Sonic. Whether it's video games, TV shows, movies, comics, merchandise, and more, we talk about it all. I have so much content coming to you guys this week alone, so stay tuned. There's a lot going on. I love all you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next video. Peace out.
And be right by the motherfucking seaside, dog. Everything I see, I got a dream. I thought these leaves would go and take me out the dark. I know everything I wanted to far away.